Hi guys! Welcome to my review of Once Upon a Time episode 5:17, Her Handsome Hero. This episode was obviously centred mostly around Rumbelle and the sort of Belle and Rumpel relationship with the state that it's in at the moment and Belle's past with Gaston. I was looking forward to that because I always enjoy when they bring in kind of new characters. Obviously we have very briefly met Gaston in the past, it was a different guy, yada yada, but bringing people in, characters that we know really well, even if it is just for an episode or a couple of episodes, to get to kind of explore those relationships that we know so well from the Disney films or from fairy tales in the past, it's always really fun. So I enjoyed having Gaston there. I enjoyed how they did that actually. He just felt a lot more ambiguous than the kind of Gaston from Disney that we know, who is just this vain, horrible human being. You felt like you got a bit more depth to the character, which is what I love about Once, is that it allows you to get to know these, what are occasionally from these Disney films slightly one-dimensional characters, in a sort of more well-rounded light. So I enjoyed those scenes with Belle and Gaston in the forest when they were talking, and the scene in the library when she was showing him the book. It felt like he had the potential to be a good guy, but then of course when her back was turned, he betrayed her, he did the wrong thing, he made the negative choice, and so was she ever going to really fully be able to trust him again? I think that that was quite an interesting way of reflecting the kind of current state of affairs with Rumpel and Belle's relationship. She has kind of turned to him to say, I need your help, you're gonna, I don't want you using dark magic at all out of any of this, but I do want you to use your magic to get us out of this mess, to find a way to help Gaston move on potentially, and to defeat Hades and get this deal broken. What I thought was very interesting about this episode was that I felt like there were a couple of scenes between Rumpel and Belle, and I feel like you see this quite often in their relationship, is it's like what is being dealt with in Once Upon a Time is that Belle is married to the Dark One, so she's married to this mythical, magical person who has all of these powers, or who has been, you know, taken on all of these dark powers, and a lot of their sort of romantic problems come from the fact that he is obviously being drawn towards the darkness. However, I feel like their relationship is very reflective of, like, if you place them in like a real world situation where he was not the Dark One, he didn't have magical powers, but has that as a metaphor for something else that's going on in his life that he always gets pulled back to. And then they can work really good things into the script, like that scene where she asked him to open the locker. So Gaston's locker was locked and she asked him to open it, and he kind of said, oh, so I'm sorry, now I'm understanding this, you get to decide when it's appropriate to use magic and when it's not, or when dark magic is acceptable or when it's not. I can't get to decide that, and you'll, you know, hate me for using it, but you get to decide what is okay and what's not. So I thought that that was really good. I thought that was a very clever moment and a very important moment within that overall relationship. We didn't see a massive amount of Hades in this episode, other than him kind of lurking around stalking Zelina and giving her a dead flower, which she looked all pleased about. It's just so utterly bizarre. But I love it. I love this Hades Zelina storyline. I think it's amazing, and I think we'll probably get to see more of that in the next episode, because from the looks of the promo it's going to be quite a Zelina centric episode, so that should be good. But I liked when he was kind of challenging Belle to be like, you can do this for me, I'll make a deal with you, and then I'll break the deal that I made with Rumpel, and if you do what I ask of you, you'll get to have your baby. And how Belle was so determined that she was like, I would never do something like that, and Hades is sort of like, well, when it comes to, you know, your child, let's just see how far you can be pushed. And I really felt so sorry for Belle in this episode, because when she eventually pushed Gaston into the water, and, you know, that was his soul kind of claimed for eternity, I assume, to the River of Lost Souls, the look on her face was just heartbreaking, and you just could feel how horrified she was at what she'd done. But I think much like other situations that we've seen in the show, like when Emma killed Cruella, that was out of this fierce protection for Henry. So you can see what people are, what the lengths that people are willing to go to for the people that they love. Speaking of Emma, I really enjoyed the kind of side storyline in this episode with Snow and Emma and Hook and ultimately Regina. I really enjoyed those scenes, and well, it's Captain Swan moment, so obviously I'm going to be on board. The one thing that I will say that I'm looking forward to, hopefully, is I'm hoping in season 6, because season 5, like season 5A was like this perfect mix of like Captain Swan fluff and Captain Swan angst. So it was all these like ridiculously cute moments paired with like some really obviously difficult, dark, traumatic moments. So you had that kind of balance of like cute, romantic, nice things and really traumatic, dark things. And then I feel like in 5B so far we haven't had a massive amount of Captain Swan scenes, but the moments that we have had between Emma and Kellyanne have been sort of quieter. I've saved your life, thank God we've been reunited, but you know, they're still kind of like slightly angsty scenes that, like, it's obviously chilled out a lot after his life's now been saved, because that was the priority. What I am really looking forward to, hopefully in season 6, because I don't think we'll really get this in the last few episodes of 5, but in season 6 I really want like old style, like fun, flirty banter scenes between Emma and Kelly, because we used to get them all the time, and that was part of what I really just loved about this pairing. And what I really like about how they've written it is that it started off as like a lot of tension and bickering and not really getting along or seeing eye to eye. Then that turned from that kind of like tension filled bickering to kind of fun bickering, and the flirting started to kind of come in then. And then as time has kind of gone on, the relationship has really progressed, and you can see in the conversations that they have, in the way that they speak to each other, and the things that they were willing to say to each other and open up to each other about how different things are now from how they were to begin with. So I do really enjoy that now most of their conversations are a lot more kind of deep and meaningful and open and honest and sort of filled with I love yous and really cute, nice things. So I really do enjoy that, but I just feel like they've been through so much rubbish over the past season that it's just been so stressful and so traumatic, and all of this horrible stuff's happened, and I just really want them to have like a couple of scenes where it can just be like back to old style, like having some banter, him saying something cheeky, her giving him like a very quick witted comeback. And I really want some scenes like that, so I'm crossing my fingers for that for season 6. However, I did enjoy the moments in this episode. I loved that now when he says to her, like, because I really enjoyed the scene in that sort of random dungeon basement place where Regina had pointed out that maybe Emma's dreams weren't just some sort of vision or fantasy, but that they were her own mind's attempts to deal with some sort of deeper issue. I do really like the friendship that has kind of formed between Regina and Emma, and I like that there are moments like this where Regina can kind of pick up on these things. As I'm not a Swan Queen shipper, but in terms of the kind of friendship between them, I definitely am a fan of that. So I thought that that was really nice, and then I loved that it was kind of Hook and Regina that together were kind of like, no, do you know what, you're going to have to tell us what's going on. And the minute that he asks something like that of her now, she's just right away will tell him. There's no kind of like, oh, I'm going to try and lie my way out of this. It's just very instinctive to just be honest and upfront. And I kind of just loved the moments between her and Snow in this episode, because just seeing how intense that bond she now has with her mum has become, again in comparison to how it was in the past, I think was really nice. I do really just want her to have a break though. I want her to have a time where she's not feeling guilty or traumatised or vengeful or smothered and suffocated by a horrible stressful situation. I just want some like light moments, and I know that there are probably some coming up, but I'm really looking forward to when they actually arrive. Banter between Regina and Hook was totally on point in this episode. There were only a couple of lines, but I really feel like they do have this really fun chemistry that I feel like they could exploit a little bit more. Obviously not in a romantic sense, but I just feel like the kind of banter between them works quite well. And I think it was because there were those moments of banter with him and Regina, or like sort of sniping at each other, but it was in a now sort of much more friendly way than it used to be. I think it was because there were those moments where he had sort of jumped out at her with the knife, and she then said, oh, like, I'm glad your reflexes are better. I'm glad you've got better reflexes than fashion sense, or along those lines, which I thought was an amazing line. And he called her love, which I thought was nice, because I don't know, has he ever called Regina love before? I don't think he has, but anyway, I like that. I think it was because there were moments like that of them kind of bickering that I was like, I kind of miss, like, I really miss like the fun moments between Emma and Kellyanne, and like I can't explain how much I love the point that we're at now and how much they mean to each other. Just fills my heart with joy. It's so romantic and perfect, and words fail me for this relationship, people. However, I do want some fun moments and light moments for them at some point. And finally, the other crucial, really exciting thing that we found in this episode is that Red is back. How on earth she got into the underworld, I have no idea, but I am so excited for the next episode because Jamie Chung's back, and My love for Jamie Chung is huge. I think she's incredible. I love Mulan, and as many scenes with her as possible works for me. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to be exploring this relationship between Red and Mulan, or Ruby and Mulan, and Dorothy's going to be, from the looks of the promo, Dorothy's going to also be back. So cannot wait for that. I feel like this is going to be a really, really good episode, and Zelina is in it, so it's got to be good. So cannot wait for next week. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode and how you feel about the current Rumbelle situation, or the situations with, you know, Emma and Hook and her parents and whatever. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know, and do hit subscribe if you want to keep up with all of my reviews. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye! I think that the version of Rumpelstiltskin that Belle fell in love with isn't the original man, because the original man was the person who was with Mila and who Mila pushed away.